you talk about leadership, there's two sides to that, right? You have the business leadership side is acumen, right? So skills and capabilities and financials and strategy and operations and M&A and how do you just run businesses and do that well. But equally important, of course, is being a leader of people, right? And the character side and the care for people, the authenticity. Working on both sides of those leadership elements are critically important.
Welcome, everybody. Great to be here today with my esteemed leader and chairman of the board of directors for the Campbell Soup Company, Keith McLoughlin. Welcome.
Thanks.
What were some of the things that really shaped you into who you are today?
So I was born in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Parents, grandparents came through Ellis Island into New York from Ireland. Large Irish Catholic blue collar family.
Right.
And I can remember my father like it was yesterday. The mantra was God, family, country, right?
Yep.
And hard work and treat people the way you want to be treated. That's kind of how I grew up.
How about brothers and sisters in that large family? How many brothers, how many sisters?
So Catholics, right? So 6 kids, three boys, 3 girls.
Yeah. Are they around? Where are they these days?
Yeah, we get together.
That's
Actually,
good.
We have a little summer home, a little north of Charleston on a barrier island. We get them all together at least once a week in the summer. There's like 26 of them.
Once a week?
I mean, not once a week, a full week.
Oh, man.
Once a year.
Once a week. Full week, once a year.
For sure, not once a week.
I'm just thinking my own family weekly. That's a challenge.
So once a year, but a full week of 26 Irishmen telling stories, you can imagine.
Those are great memories.
Absolutely.
How about you? How many kids do you have?
So I have 2.
Okay.
So I have a son and a daughter. So a daughter starting a bakery business, and my son works out of Atlanta for a pretty good sized consulting firm. Both went to University of Chicago, so really smart kids. We're not sure where they get that from, but
where could that have come from? Well, let's talk maybe a little bit about how you landed on your career path. That's always, I think, interesting for folks to hear, how you navigated. You and I obviously have some things in common, but let me hear a little bit of your story and how you traveled that path.
Sure. I would say probably the most significant event for me, trajectory-wise, career-wise, was actually going to college.
Okay.
Because again, large blue-collar family. No one actually on either side of the family had gone to college, and it put me on a different trajectory in terms of career. Started with DuPont as an engineer coming out of the service. Once I did my service.
Right.
22 years later, and went into an appliance company, and then connected with Campbell. So.
Now, military played an important role in that. Was that something that you knew from an early age that you wanted to go to the military?
So to be honest, I wasn't sure I was going to college, and so West Point actually became the way to get there because it was a full ride, as you know.
Yeah.
So I actually got there recruited to play football.
Okay.
So you'll relate to this as well.
Yep.
Played basketball.
We have a lot in common.
Yep. And I had a partial scholarship to Cornell and URI, but no full rides. So
right.
That was how I was going to go to college.
Yeah. Are there a couple things you pulled through from the military?
Sure. At the end of the day, it's all about people.
Right.
It doesn't matter whether it's business, military, athletics. It's all about people. It's all about the team. It's all about leadership. It's all about character. It's all about principles and values. So that was big learning through the academy, of course, and that carried through my professional career. They teach you that you actually can do a lot more than you think you can do.
True, yeah.
You get to the point where you actually say, okay, I just can't go another step.
Right, and
then they force you to do 2.5 times more, and you say, wow, I actually did that. So, just that mental toughness of saying, perseverance, you can do a lot more than you think you can do.
I always find it interesting. On the toughest days I always think back to what tough really looks like.
Exactly.
And it's always a very helpful perspective to find that one more gear as you kind of go forward.
Yep.
Well, let's change gears a little bit. And so for a lot of people that may be watching, when it gets to the board, it gets a little mysterious.
Sure.
What does a chairman of the board do? And how do you see your responsibilities?
So, of course, you have a board of directors and, of course, the management team. So, as the chairman, you're trying to facilitate the entire engagement of all the directors. And you have to kind of lead it sometimes, right? You kind of got to steer it so that you move along the agenda. So, getting that right, the balance between leading and facilitating is an important part of the role.
Is there anything unique about the Campbell's board? So you've had a chance to work with boards you were on the management team with, you sit on other board of directors.
I think a couple of things. One is, the individuals around the table, one, bring a very diverse set of experience.
Right.
Two, a very, I think, relevant set of experience, because we've got a lot of people who, have been around CPG, have been CEOs, have been CFOs. So a lot of relevant experience. It's a relatively refreshed board. So we have, in the last, since I've been here, probably 60-70% of the board has turned over. So it's a relatively current board of directors. They're certainly engaged. I would say board directors, they have to have a certain amount of capability and experience, which they all do.
Right.
But they have to have a certain amount of curiosity in terms of wanting to learn.
Sure.
And then the third, I would say, critically important, which I feel like our directors have, is self-awareness. Right?
Okay.
You have to kind of be self-aware when you're in that dynamic of a group of people, so that how you're impacting the conversation and the output of the work is important. I think we've got a really good set of directors around that. The other thing I would say that's unique to this board is actually the combination of the dynamic between the board and the management team.
Right.
You guys have confidence enough, and the board has trust enough in you that you're willing to bring ideas that may not be 100% done, because you want the questions.
Yeah.
You want the questions to say, okay, what else should we be thinking
Well,
about?
as you know all too well, that when you really value and benefit from the input is while you're in the development process. Exactly. When you're done and dusted, that can be sometimes a little bit difficult. So better to get the insights in, and I think the board does bring just a unique set of past experiences that complement one another, but really help us. One thing that I think a lot of people are curious about, or that ask me a lot, is, Campbell's 155 years old. We've got descendants of the founders that are sitting in our boardroom with us. How do we navigate that?
Sure. Actually, you have to obviously appreciate that ownership, right? So we have, 3 direct family descendants that own over a third of the company shares, right? So very, very large shareholdings. They have a unique perspective, much longer and deeper than you and I combined, right?
There are many times I think I have a new idea, and I'm informed that I actually do not have a new idea, which does make it interesting.
But they have, they've got a long history of experiences. They know the company obviously incredibly well. They bring unique sets of skills themselves, just as individuals, and obviously, you can't be more committed to the success of this company than those family directors.
And I think that could be helpful for a board. What do you think would be the hallmarks of where you want this company to be in 5 years?
I see Campbell Soup Company in top tier performance in the food industry, right? Just right up there with the very best in all regards, in terms of financials, in terms of quality of product, in terms of innovation, in terms of people. We are poised to get there. And so in 5 years, I'm quite confident we'll be in that top tier in 5 years.
Yeah, I share that vision. We will get there and deliver it. There are always pearls of wisdom that can be helpful to people that are trying to plot their career. Always kind of tough to distill it down into one or two things, but if you had a couple pieces of advice from your career.
I would say one, over whatever it's been, 45 years, it probably took me way too long, 15 to 20 years, to figure out the whole financial system, right? You have to grow the revenue, you have to expand the margins, and you have to increase the asset turnover. And when you peel that apart, to grow revenue, you got price and volume. To expand margins, you got price and volume and cost. And to get asset turnover, you got assets. There's only 4 knobs in the whole damn thing. I wish I knew that much earlier. So
it seems so simple. Why? All I got to do is turn 4 knobs?
Well, that's the point, as you know. It is incredibly simple. It doesn't mean it's easy.
Not easy.
It's not at all easy, but it is, to get through the financial lens, it's a very simple game. So that's one thing I would learn. The other is, you talk about leadership, as you know, there's 2 sides to that, right? You have what I would call business leadership, a leader of business and a leader of people, and the kind of the business leadership side is acumen, right? So skills and capabilities and financials and strategy and operations and M&A, and how do you just run businesses and do that well. But equally important, of course, is being a leader of people, right? And the character side and the care for people, the authenticity. Working on both sides of those leadership elements are critically important. The second, and probably last thing I would say, learning, is just around M&A, around mergers and acquisitions, most companies look to acquire other companies that help them achieve something, right?
Right.
Growth or a new channel or a new segment or a new product. And I think that's an important lens, but it's necessary but not sufficient. You also have to ask the question is, what can you do to help that
Right,
company?
sure. Yep.
And of course, it's that second lens that tells you how close they are to what you really know how to
Right.
do.
That's a good
Because
point.
if you only do the first, you know what happens. You do that
sure.
chase the shiny object
right.
thing,
And
you
then
get
you're,
it,
and then you're left with it, and what
and
do
you
you
don't
do?
know what the hell to do with it.
Yeah.
So those are three.
Okay, so let's have a little bit of fun. Couple
Okay.
questions. What is your perfect day?
Something outdoors.
Okay.
So
All right.
outdoors, hopefully some physical activity, you know.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be hard exercise, but something
Right.
physical. Probably something spiritual, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, just some connection. Ideally something with my family. You know.
Right.
It could be fishing with my son or
Okay.
baking with my daughter.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
Those are both fun.
Yeah. And then maybe if I could learn something during the day, that'd be a pretty awesome day. If I get all those. They don't all happen every day.
Yeah. Well, that's
That's a pretty awesome day.
an ambitious day. I was kind of expecting a beer on the porch, watching the sun.
Well, it's
okay,
outdoors,
I
it
get it.
doesn't exclude beer.
Is it hot? Is it cold?
It's warm.
Oh, it's warm. All right.
It's
Well,
warm.
that's important to know that along the way. All right. You're stuck on a deserted island. You can bring with you one Campbell's product and one movie and one album.
So,
Yeah.
movie, probably The Great Escape, which is an old
Love it.
World War II movie,
Yeah.
but with Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. Yeah.
Album.
Because I know you're a music guy.
Yeah. Actually, I might have to flip a coin on this. So,
Yeah.
so it's either the Layla album by Derek and the Dominoes,
Yep.
or Europe 72, which
Yep.
is a double live album
Yeah.
by the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, I know this, you may find this hard to believe. Keith and I both are deadheads, so I don't know what to make of that. We both went to West
West
Point. That's even more confusing, but
Yeah.
I would say definitely high up on my list.
might
How about
be-
Campbell's product?
Yeah, we might be brothers by different mothers. by
We
the way.
could be. We seem to have wandered onto the same road. I don't know how that exactly happened.
Campbell's products. So I guess it would depend on whether I thought I was going to survive or not. So if I thought I had a chance of survival, I'd probably go for a good, healthy, chunky, high
Yeah,
protein.
It's probably not bad.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And if I didn't think, then I'd just load up on as much goldfish as possible. And just
All right,
enjoy
that's
the
a good
moment.
strategy. I like both answers. All right, so I think you've earned some food. You want to go grab something to eat?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go do it.
Yeah.
Let's go do it.
Great.
So Keith, I don't know if you know, we actually bought a pasta.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, it's so funny. I feel like we've been talking about it for so long, but I really, truly could not be more excited to add this to the family. I mean, you really do look at our portfolio now, and I mean, it is a collection of iconic winners across the board, and this is going to fit in perfectly. So let's try a little bit.
So let's do it. Yeah.
Some amazing pasta. I mean, underrated, I think, actually, is their pasta. Their dry pasta, also from Italy. Absolutely excellent.
No, it's fantastic for sure. And
I appreciate the chef bringing us vegetables. I'm not eating any of them, but I do
they're
appreciate
here for looks.
Yeah, I think it's awesome it's there, but let me just get to the pasta and the meatball.
That's the Parmesan.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's finish it appropriately. But it's great to have a snack with you.
Yeah, it was a fantastic day.
And just in case you were wondering,
Yep.
I'm not going to change the sauce.
Yeah. Not that anybody's worried about that, right? You just made that up?
No one's concerned about that at all.